I'm making sure that this girl goes to every restaurant in Disney World if it kills me.
This Disney World restaurant has been called sophisticated, delicious, and average at best. So how does Yachtsman Steakhouse really stand up? Let's find out. I'm so excited. My B-roll's ruined.
Let's talk Yachtsman. In Disney World, this is going to cost you about $3 sign. It's a table service restaurant. It's serving up steaks, seafood, chicken, and it's all right here at the Yacht Club. It's an upscale New England themed spot that has kind of country club vibes, if that makes sense. It also has an open kitchen and lots of pine touches.
Pine?
I don't know what that means, but we're going to find out.
Yacht and Beach Club Resorts. We just finished dinner. We do our tasting notes after dinner. So we'll start with our bread course and drinks. We both got dirty martinis today because that's what we wanted. They were very good. They were very strong. Dirty martinis. They were made directly to order. We did have to request more olive juice, and they brought it in a cute little glass. Yes. But they were still delicious martinis. But the real star of the start of our meal was the complimentary bread course.
Complimentary. We're looking at you, Ale and Compass.
Which is right next door in this resort. It was the first restaurant that we did in Emma and I's restaurant review series. And this one, the bread service was just as good.
Better.
Perhaps better. It came with a salted butter and a garlic confit, super spreadable right out of the bulb. Garlic confit.
And I'm going to argue this. A truly good garlic confit is not going to give you dragon's breath.
Me neither. And two types of bread. Regular yeast rolls and then an onion bread that was super flaky, pull apart delicious. Probably one of the better bread services I've had in Disney World. Typically I'm a little underwhelmed by bread service. I mean, free bread, but this was one of the better ones. We split the lobster bisque and we just had a lobster bisque at our koozies. However,
this one absolutely beat it by leaps and bounds.
Yeah, just on a flavor perspective, it wasn't as flashy. None of the meal was as flashy as Narcoossee's, but the lobster bisque in particular was a real winner for us. It was not as flashy as the one at Narcoossee's, but the flavor was impeccable.
It was the kind that was sticking to your spoon because it was so thick and creamy. It was everything you hope a bisque is going to be.
So buttery. The lobster flavor was really strong, but it didn't have that overly shellfishy aftertaste that lobster can have. And it was just just buttery and creamy and decadent. We both agreed. We split a bowl, so they actually split it in 2 bowls for us. That had we had a whole bowl, it would have been too much. I honestly would have felt sick after it, but with that little half portion, just the perfect way to start the meal and budget friendly. All right, let's chat Atmo. The atmosphere of Yachtsman Steakhouse is a distinct New England style design. In fact, I think it has some of those lighthouse elements that you see around Yacht Club in general. A lot of rich woods with warm lighting. It feels like a very cozy, comfortable, but still upscale environment. Many have described it as almost kind of a country club vibe, although I do think that the noise level in the restaurant makes it very comfortably family friendly. It's not noisy, but I don't think kids would feel too out of place here if you do want to spend the money to bring your kids with you to Yachtsman Steakhouse. On a scale of 1 to 10, I would give the atmosphere an 8. I really liked it.
I really liked it. I felt very comfortable.
It was a comfy, classy vibe, so 8 for us. All right, our entree course has arrived. We have gotten a couple of things here. So we got the 7-ounce filet mignon with mashed potatoes and bordelaise sauce. You can swap out the side and the sauce if you want. This is $59. And if you want, you can grab the sauce flight. This is a $9 edition that comes with all of their sauces. They've got the house steak sauce, the béarnaise, the peppercorn, the blue cheese, and the bordelaise on the end there. So you can get all of the sauces with the steak. They do serve the sauces on the steak, but since we got the sauce plate, they put it on the side so that we can enjoy the steak with all the different sauces without the bordelaise getting in the way. Our other entree, we wanted to try some fish. We got the Chilean sea bass. This is served with rock shrimp perlou, chorizo, crab beurre blanc, pickled heirloom tomatoes, and it is $56. We also got 2 of the steakhouse sides, and again, the sides are swappable with the steak, but we went ahead and just got extra because why not? We deserve it. We went here with the truffle macaroni and cheese and the hot honey bourbon Brussels sprouts with chili candied walnuts. These sides on their own, the mac and cheese is $14.50 and the hot honey Brussels sprouts is $12.50. And that's the course. I went with the Chilean sea bass.
I went with the 7-ounce filet that came with mashed potatoes underneath.
Yeah.
I'll say it, the mashed potatoes were the star of the entree dishes.
Agreed. We also got 2 extra sides where we got the Brussels sprouts, the honey Brussels sprouts, as well as the truffle mac and cheese, and the mashed potatoes were the real star.
They were probably the creamiest mashed potatoes I've ever had, but they were just really decadent. I felt very indulgent, honestly. Like, I could have only eaten those for my meal and I would have been really happy.
But at the same time, not overly heavy.
No, it was truly, they were very, very well balanced.
They either had a lot of butter or sour cream or something in them. They definitely had just been made very well. My Chilean sea bass, I was not actually impressed with, and I love sea bass. I think it's a super hearty fish, and usually I love it. It's one of my favorite things to get on Disney cruises. This sea bass was cooked well. It was just a little too salty. Yeah, it was the outside was seasoned really well, except for the fact that it was a little over salted. And after just one bite, I was starting to feel that like over saltiness in my mouth. And I would go to the rice on the side or the crab meat on the side. Crab meat was delicious. And the rice was delicious too, but none of it really relieved from that saltiness, and it took away from the dish for me. And honestly, that's why you can see me scarf down so much of Emma's steak at like an embarrassing speed.
I did think the steak was really, really nice. It had a wonderful char. It was cooked perfectly. It just had that nice warm red center. Outside of that, I think that trying the sauces was fun. I don't necessarily know that it was worth $9 of fun. Yeah, considering all we paid for.
If I were doing Yachtsman as a one and done, I would do it. I would do it just because I love multiple sauces. But I definitely had my favorite. I just think that it's a gamble when you're ordering your steak of which one you pick, if you're gonna like it. Because the one I would have picked would have been the blue cheese, and I did not like that one as much as many of the others. So I probably would do a $9 sauce fight just as something a little special, but I could see it not being worth the price. I love this steak. I thought it was an awesome filet mignon, although I also love an Outback Steakhouse filet mignon. So it's filet mignon, you know what I mean? And I do think that steakhouse, like, it's a steakhouse. Steak is the thing here. They have the on-stage butcher's room. They age all their steaks in-house. I think if you're gonna go here, you should be getting steak. Because the sea bass didn't really hit for me, and like, I was really excited about this. Like, it's a steakhouse. So I think it's a skip if you're not that into steak, and if you go, you should be getting steak. We got the 2 extra sides. The Brussels sprouts were good, but not great. There are much better Brussels sprouts on Disney property. Polite Pig was the first one that popped into my mind, which are cheaper and a quick service. You could just go, and if you love Brussels sprouts like that, and honestly, like, if I were gonna get a side here, I would just get the mashed potatoes because they were so delicious.
I really enjoyed the truffle mac and cheese. I thought it was the perfect amount of truffle, which is not. Typically, I steer clear of truffle things because I can find it to be a little bit too overwhelming, but I really liked it. It felt really nice and creamy and cheesy, and just a nice little bit of truffle.
It's the right amount, just the right amount of truffle. So if you like truffle at all, the truffle mac and cheese was the way to go. Really heavy meal, so we did skip dessert because we were quite full at the end of it, and I ate my steak at like a speed that's embarrassing. And I did it all on camera. But overall, I think the big takeaway is like Yachtsman Steakhouse, it was a really nice experience. We had wonderful service. It's a little bit of a longer meal for what we got, but
it's really nice and relaxed.
Yeah, and something that Emma said early on in the meal was that like this is like your grandpa wants to eat. Like, grandpa doesn't need flashy, grandpa wants a good steak. And that's what Yachtsman Steakhouse kind of had for us. Like, it succeeded in places where it wasn't overly flashy, where it was just trying to do something classic well. Our big winners, I think, was a solid filet mignon, the truffle mac and cheese, and the lobster bisque. Yeah. I'm not sure I would return. I would do this over Ale and Compass. If I were staying here, I think that would be the way I return to Yachtsman. I think that I would rather explore some of the other finer dining options around Disney World than go to Yachtsman Steakhouse. That said, I had a really nice meal. I don't have any huge complaints except for the saltiness of the Chilean sea bass. It just wasn't a standout, which I think is what you hear about Yachtsman, so it's just nice that we can confirm it.
So who is this one for? We're going to break it down with our magics and our tragics. It is going to be magic for a handful of people. If you want a delicious steak in Disney World, I think this is pretty magic. If you want a meal that is really nice without all the pomp and circumstance, it's a little bit more comfortable, this is gonna be a magic for you. And if you're staying close by or specifically here at Yacht and Beach Club, I think it's a very magic dinner. However, it is gonna be tragic for some, just like everything. It's gonna be a little bit tragic if you're looking to save some money. We spent roughly $250 here after a tip, which is pricey even for Disney World. So maybe if you're looking to save a little bit, this one's gonna be a tragic for you. If you want something with pomp and circumstance, if you want to feel like that pricey price tag is gonna get you the fancy experience, this one also is gonna be a little bit tragic. And if you're using the Disney dining plan, I don't necessarily know that this is gonna be the most magical option for you. This one actually counts as 2 dining credits rather than just 1, so definitely consider skipping and going somewhere else if you're using the dining plan.
In many ways, the work of a critic is easy, but that is not so when it comes to judging Yachtsman Steakhouse, one of the widely considered mediocre steakhouses around Disney World. Did I have a delightful evening with my friend Emma? I did. I had a delicious steak, delicious truffle mac and cheese, and an incredible lobster bisque. But were these pluses enough to bring this into a recommended territory? Perhaps no. Yachtsman Steakhouse remains, well, fine. For that, we will give Yachtsman a 2.5 out of 5 stars.
Well, if you guys like this video, go ahead and like and subscribe.
Where are we going next, Emma?
To Italia!
Oh.
I'm nervous.